It was only a matter of time. The worldwide health crisis caused by the coronavirus has arrived in the Buckeye State.
We begin tonight with breaking news. 3 cases of coronavirus have been confirmed here in Cuyahoga County.
When the virus first hit outside of the United States, I can honestly say that I was like, oh, wow, that's horrible. But then when it started creeping closer and closer and closer to home, then I was like, well, now, wait a minute.
Seeing all this stuff in the media and how sick these patients were in New York and how quickly their hospitals were filling up, are we prepared to handle this if it does come to us?
But as it had moved, I think we realized that we probably were going to see it here. It just hadn't happened yet.
And then once March hit, it was probably right around St. Patrick's Day, I remember we started getting our first patients.
I mean, I'm familiar with the word pandemic, but, it took on a whole new meaning, when I saw the devastation that this virus started doing. I said, this thing is here, this thing is real, and this thing is deadly.
I realized that at that time the cat's out of the bag, and we have got to learn everything we possibly learn about this virus. We really had to hunker down and create a war room. We stood up for the first time, which UH never has had, a hospital incident command structure where we began meeting twice a day, 7 a.m., 7 p.m., with literally everyone and their brother on there to give the latest data. And at that time, we didn't even know the full lethality of the virus, and that came later.
I don't think that we expected to see this amount of death. These patients do not do well, especially when they get to our unit. It's the worst of the worst. That's the last stop. There's nowhere else to go. And it seems like everyone that we put on a ventilator just did not do well.
Almost in any other infectious situation, you do have some tools to use. We didn't have any tools. We had nothing, and the whole nation had nothing.
Well, we knew it was here, first of all, and we had to ramp up our testing because I think that was just the tip of the iceberg.
We knew we needed to develop this test so we could identify who has the disease. If we don't identify it, we can't treat it, we can't stop the spread. And so knowing who has this disease is critical in saving lives. We got our team together, determined, okay, can we do this? Are we going to bring a test in-house? As laboratory scientists, as clinical pathologists, it's our training, it's our job to develop these tests. But it is highly atypical to develop it this quickly. When we reported out those first results, there was this sense of, we knew the weight of it, we knew the significance of what we had accomplished in that short time, and we knew the importance to the region. It was quite intense.
We had to begin a masking protocol, which back then was very hard to get people to mask. We had to start thinking about how we do our day-to-day jobs.
Masks running out in health systems were a major concern in March and April of 2020, no question about it. And the hard part was being able to answer the call of, do we have enough supply? Understanding your burn rate, understanding your consumption, understanding what's available in the market, understanding that it's not counterfeit, and actually sourcing it and bringing it to the shelves of the caregivers that need it. That was an unbelievably stressful time.
You're 40 years old, you're healthy, you get COVID, you've been on a ventilator for several weeks and, we don't know if you're gonna come off. That's the difference. It just happened so fast. These patients decline so quickly.
Losing patients to COVID has been probably one of the hardest part of my career because, again, when this all started, we didn't have any treatment modalities. We didn't know what to do.
Our only tools were admitting them if they're really having trouble breathing, giving them an assisted ventilation, and literally hoping for the best.
We were the very first site in the entire United States to roll out the Remdesivir trial. The beauty of this, importantly, is that we not only did this at Cleveland Medical Center, but across our community hospitals as well. And I think that really allowed us to enroll over 100 individuals in a rapid fashion. That contributed significantly in the end to the overall results.
The Remdesivir story is, like other, when you have a new virus that we never had before, the quickest way to get a clinical trial going is to try to repurpose. So Remdesivir was invented for Ebola, right? But it failed. And then here it is now helping people who have COVID recover faster. It's an antiviral, and if given early in the process when people are really sick, it really cuts down on their hospital stay.
That remains still the only antiviral that we have for treatment of COVID.
No one was able to do what we did, and I think it is in our DNA as an organization that when we are forced into a corner, we don't just keep ourselves afloat, we fight back. And UH fought back like no other system to be able to lead the effort in testing, ultimately recently with vaccine delivery, but more importantly with discovery during this. And I think it was that injection of hope that our team saw every day, that our own people are out there developing these therapeutics with the best pharmaceutical companies. And I think that propelled us to do even better. So yes, I think it was our finest year because that's what we're supposed to do.
The thing that we learned through all of this is not only within our own family how we bound together and worked through this, but that happened across the whole United States and in fact across the world. And we are part of that, and we are very proud of that, but there's more work to be done.
No one would have thought that we could literally stop going out, we would live with masks, we would limit our contact, and we would be working from home. If you said that before March of 2020, that we'd be dealing with this and still going about our business and still doing all the things that we do day to day, you wouldn't believe it, but we do it. People do incredible things.
I think when the pandemic first hit and it just looked like, were we ever gonna get out of this? Anxiety, fear, feelings of hopelessness. Am I gonna be next? I don't feel that way now. I think that light at the end of the tunnel is getting brighter. I think it's saying that we have a chance to win this fight. And I hope that others come on board and go towards that light. Get the vaccine.
The vaccine definitely has given us hope. The dedication of my staff gives me hope.
We put just as much vigor into each planning effort, but certainly the one around vaccine had a special halo to it.
You know, I go back to the fact that I was vaccinating, and it was the 80-year-olds, and I felt very privileged to be doing that for these older folks. They were just so sweet. But one gentleman came to me and he said, "Doc, I am anticipating a brand new side effect." I said, "What is that, sir?" He said, "Happiness."